some time for people to wander in aimlessly. Welcome. Anyone else who stumbles upon this? Wow, that's a real lag right there.
So we can edit you if you start cussing people out.
Anyone else floating in yet? Yeah. All right, we're just sitting around waiting for people to show up. Last week, when I did this, I started getting texts and everything 10-15 minutes after it was over, asking where it was, people saying that they couldn't find it, and I was like, it's already done. So we're gonna give it a few minutes this week and let people wander in, stumble in, find this thing on wherever they're looking for it. And tonight's story is about 25 minutes long, so it's longer than last week, but more on that later. Feel free to use this time to grab a drink or something. I've got my apple juice looking liquid here, but it's not apple juice. It's delicious though. Yeah, maybe okay, by the time I finish this, we'll get started. If any of you have any questions for me, just feel free to fire away. I'm not promising that I'll answer them, but hey. Yeah, and also a big thank you to you guys for showing up last week. For all you who did show up last week, it was a lot of fun for me. Hopefully for you guys, it was entertaining as well. And it's the main reason I decided to do it again this week, because I enjoyed it so much last week. Not sure if I'll keep doing this on Sundays, if I'll keep reading like this, because if you know me, you know I'm not a talkative person, and this is really pushing the boundaries of that. Look at me, I'm sitting here making small talk, and that's so outside of who I am. I don't know if I can keep this up. We're about halfway done there. I'd say there's about a shot left. That kind of gives away what's in the glass. For those of you who don't know, I don't understand why you wouldn't know, but yes, I am an author. My first book right here, Forsaken, a collection of short stories. This was a collection of stories I'd written over about 10 years. And in that 10 years, at the beginning of that 10 years when I started writing stories, I had it in mind that I wanted to take writing seriously. And so I just started writing these crazy stories that would come to my mind, and this is a product of that. Now, a couple years after this was released in 2016. A couple years after that, I kept writing, of course, and decided to edit a bunch of stories that I had put out on a blog that I entitled #OctoberHorror. At the time I thought I was the first person to use that, but with the internet, you're never the first person to do anything. So it's out there. So hashtag October Horror was my second book, years 1 and 2. These are 7 stories in here from the first 2 years of my blog. This year will actually be the 5th installment of the blog, which is crazy. We'll see where that takes us this year. But yeah, these are my first 2 books right here. Forsaken, hashtag October Horror, years 1 and 2. If you check out the cover of Forsaken, you see that tombstone right there that says Cain. That was actually a little behind the scenes for you. This was actually a tombstone that was about, I don't know, a mile away from where I lived at the time. There was a graveyard next to a Walmart. And I would go to that Walmart and drive in there, and the story Forsaken, which that character is from, had already been written. It was, I don't know, 2-3 years old at that time. And I would drive by it all the time and see that tombstone that said Cain. I would always say, I got to get a picture of that. It's going to come in handy someday. And then when I decided to actually turn my stories into a book, I said, you know what? Now's the perfect time to go and get that picture. And there it is on the cover. Somebody's in that grave, and probably if the family knows that this is out there, they're probably not happy about that. But, I made sure to take a picture of the back so that you don't see anything about whoever this Cain person was, whoever was buried there. And I think it makes a dope-ass book cover. So what are you going to do? So, yeah, time goes on. I'm still writing. And then I decide to send a story in to a submission call, and the story gets accepted. That story was Sangria. Sangria was a story that I actually made up one night, just off the top of my head, sitting there drinking Sangria at a bar, much like the one in the story. That story appears in here in Fear and Fables. This is by Stormy Island Publishing. This came out in February this year, I believe. I'll have to check see if that's actually true. I don't remember. What I can tell you is that I'm in a writing group with a lot of the writers in this book, and I can definitely tell you that there are some really great writers in this book, and it's definitely worth it to pick it up and read it. I'm a little ways into it already, and it's good. It's a good book. So, Fear and Fables, you can find all of this on Amazon, by the way. The next story I submitted for publishing was A Friendly Conversation, and that appears in this anthology from Pixie Forest Publishing. I'm ashamed that I had to actually look to see who that was, but yeah, Pixie Forest Publishing. Again, these are a bunch of writers that I know that really put a lot of effort into writing their stories. It's not just throwing something down on paper and calling it a story. This is not a horror book. This is more dark and melancholy. The whole theme of the book is death and everything that revolves around death. But again, there's some really great stories in here, and there are some horror stories in here. So, all right, let's wrap this up, and I gotta finish this drink. Again, you can find this on Amazon. Also, real quick, Forsaken, for those of you who want to read it. It's available digitally for free. To get that, you have to go to smashwords.com. Don't type in Forsaken because it'll pull up a long list of books. Type in my name, Bryant Wiley, on smashwords.com. It'll pull the book right up. You download it in whatever format you want and enjoy the read. Again, all the rest of those books are available on Amazon. And I think we're about ready to get this started. So let me... Salud. So welcome to Sinister Sunday, everybody. Tonight's story is called Confidential Informant. I'm going to preface this the same way I did last week and tell you that this is not a story for kids. In fact, I don't think any of my stories are. So if you want them to listen, that's up to you. But there's a lot going on in this story. So I'm just warning you right off the bat. All right, and without further ado, let's cut off the ambient music and get this started. Wow, there's a big difference. All right, Confidential Informant. Yo, ditch the bag, 5-0, 5-0. The three men scattered away from the storefront in different directions. One having dropped a few grams of weed down a sewer grating as the unmarked police cruiser approached with its sirens blaring. The car screeched to a halt, nearly jumping the curb outside of the stop mark. Detective Ryan Brady quickly exited the vehicle and pursued one of the three men. He chased him down through the alleyway in between buildings, hopping over fences and dodging obstacles such as trash cans and discarded furniture. The man being pursued made a left on 58th Avenue and another at the end of the block, putting him right back in front of the bodega where the chase began. Brady, who'd been steadily gaining ground, tackled the man just a few feet away from the car. "Come on, I didn't do anything, man," Darius Miller protested as the detective placed the handcuffs around one wrist and then the other. "Then why the hell did you run when I pulled up, huh? Do yourself a favor. Exercise your right to remain silent, dumbass." Detective Brady lifted Miller off of the ground and wrestled him into the back of the car. A few bystanders looked on, ready to go and spread the word that Darius got pinched. It was all right. He'd already proven on past occasions that he wouldn't talk. Let the pigs lean on him all they wanted. The man was loyal and would never break. The car sped away from the scene and the corner returned to business as usual. "Shit, Miller, did you get faster?" Brady was still working at catching his breath. "It has to look real, right? I busted my fucking elbow when you jumped on me." "Boo goddamn who? I'll get you a bandage." "Always with the theatrics, huh, Brady? Those kids you scared the shit out of back there only had a couple dimes on them. If you needed to talk, you could have just called." "Afraid not, my friend. This conversation needed to be in person." Darius sighed in the back seat. His best friend since childhood had taken a different, nobler path in becoming a cop. Keeping Darius out of prison on many occasions was testament to the bond between the two of them. They were like brothers. Still, Darius wondered how many more favors he could do for the department. With his life moving in a new direction, he was finally ready to put his criminal past to rest. The question was, would they let him? Darius, knowing where they were headed, became confused as the car continued on past Parsons Boulevard. "Hey, you growing senile up there, you old fuck? You missed the turn. Precinct's back that way." "I know. Don't worry about it. We've got other business to tend to." Shit. So this was going to be one of those things. Darius closed his eyes and tried to think of the best way to tell his friend that he couldn't do it anymore. Excuse me, y'all. The car stopped in front of an abandoned parking garage. "Stay here. I need to open the gate." Darius scoffed, knowing that he couldn't open the back doors of the car. After some struggle, the gate clattered open on its rolling mechanism. When Brady returned, he drove down into the structure, stopping the car and parking once he reached the first turn that led to the huge underground lot. "I'm sorry, man. I really just need a few minutes of your time." He got out of the car and helped Darius out as well, leading him to rest on the bumper while he paced nervously. "You all right, man? What's up? Don't think I ever seen you so troubled." "Have you made any headway with Castaneda? Can we move on him, soon?" "Seriously? You dragged me out here to ask about money? How are you fucked up after last month's job? 6 figures we made. Take these damn cuffs off me. I don't have time for this bullshit." Brady slammed a fist on the trunk of his car. "Listen, okay? I fell into some shit, and in about a week, every tough guy in the city is going to be looking for me. I need this, man. Unless you can float me something for a little while. At least until Castaneda goes down." "Oh, God damn it, Brady. This won't make you feel any better. I can get Castaneda's numbers for you. I guarantee he's pulling down massive figures. But if or when you move on him, I won't be there." "Wait, what? The fuck you talking about?" "Keisha's pregnant. I'm about to be a father. I can't do this anymore. After last month, I've got a few $100,000 in the laundry. And once it's legit, I'm going to start investing that shit. My baby ain't going to have to live this life. You know what I'm saying? I don't want Keisha to get a call one night that she has to come down to county and identify my body." "I can't believe what I'm hearing. You're fucking ditching me over this bitch?" "Hey, watch your fucking mouth, all right?" Darius pushed off of the car and stood face to face with Brady as he yelled. "Brothers, Miller, that's what we are. At least what we're supposed to be. How the hell am I going to make moves when you're my in? That's the problem with all of this. Motherfuckers chase that money and get greedy. How deep are you in it right now, huh? What's it going to take to even get you out this time?" 180,000. Detective Brady turned his face down so that he was no longer looking at Darius. "How the hell does that even happen? You had enough to live comfortably. I know, because we got the same cut. Spare me the fucking lecture, all right? I had a surefire thing. Some bricks needed to be moved and I fronted the money for it. It was a small risk, big reward type thing. Come to find out there was a leak in the system though. Shit went south fast and the feds seized every last ounce of dust before it even left the warehouse. These people I was partnering with were not trying to hear anything I had to say. Since my ass was on the line, I paid back what I could, which obviously wasn't enough. I need you, bro. We can rob Castaneda blind, and I'll have him hauled off to central booking before he even knows a single cent is missing. Brady, you're family, dog. I mean it. But I can't fuck this up. This ain't what I want my life to be about anymore. You're a smart dude. I know for a fact that you can figure this out. Hell, there's probably any number of dirty badges that would jump at the chance to be a part of this. Brady balled his fist tight, swung, and connected with Darius's face. The man staggered backwards, bleeding from the mouth. You got some fucking nerve, you know that? All the shit that I got you out of, this is how you repay me? Brady grabbed Darius by the shoulders and yanked him close, driving his knee into the defenseless man's abdomen. Darius doubled over, gasping. I might be greedy, but I'm not some selfish asshole leaving his friend high and dry. How about this? He grabbed Darius by the collar and leaned in close. Tell me where you stashed your money, and I'll let you walk right out of here, even fucking Stevens. Darius's words came out in ragged spurts through his bloody lips. And if I don't, what? You'll have me hauled off to jail, some trumped up charge? This is exactly why I'm done with this shit. Brady pulled his service piece from his holster. No, you're not done until I say you are. Darius, seeing the weapon in his friend's hand, spoke slow and deliberate. It's true, Brady. You got me out of plenty of shit. But that's because you were right there in it with me. For me to get caught would mean the end of your crooked ass career. Hell, you racked up a body count that any serial killer would blush at. You never were a friend. If you can stand there and pull that on me, especially after I tell you that I'm trying to be better than this, yeah, there was never any love between us. Fucked up it took this long for me to see that. I'm not telling you shit. You got yourself into this mess? Find your own goddamn way out. Get these fucking cuffs off of me. I can walk home. Detective Brady felt as if he'd been hit by a hammer. It angered him. He gripped the pistol tight and moved behind Darius. Instead of grabbing his handcuff keys, Brady kicked Darius just above his calf, sending the man down onto his knees. Darius turned his head, about to protest, but Brady smacked the pistol across his face. Pulsating dots danced across Darius's field of vision as blood leaked out of the fresh wounds. Brady pulled the slide on his gun back and chambered around. Let me explain something to you. You are my confidential informant. That's just a fancy way of saying a snitch that hasn't been found out yet. Offing you wouldn't raise any questions at all, considering the fact that the associates of everyone you've ever dropped a dime on and all the people we've robbed together would pay top dollar to find out who you are and to see you dead. Go ahead, do it! Darius's labored voice was no more than a whisper. You better fucking kill me, Brady, because I'm gonna... The report was louder than expected, reverberating off of the surrounding concrete. Darius slumped forward and crashed onto the ground in a lifeless heap. When the noise settled, there was a brief moment of silence, and then a loud crash. Brady's attention was drawn to the entrance, where the gate that he'd opened moments ago slammed to the ground closed. He walked up the ramp to examine it. Nothing seemed to be wrong. Maybe the mechanism that held it open had failed. Brady tried to open it, but it was stuck fast. No matter. He would drive right through the damn thing if he had to. After removing the cuffs, the detective hovered over his deceased friend's body. Focused on the sizable lump that his wallet created within his back pocket, Brady grabbed it. There was some cash, which the detective quickly swiped. A few useless business cards, and a folded piece of paper. Brady unfolded it to find a picture. Not exactly a picture, though. It was black and white, a little bluish even, and depicted a bunch of dots around an indecipherable mass against a black background. Brady never could make out the baby in any sonogram. On the back of the photo was a series of scrawled numbers that he instantly recognized as an account number. This would be where he would find the money he sought. Shit, Miller. You weren't lying after all. Don't worry. I'll kick a few bucks Keisha's way once this is all over. Brady kneeled down to pick up the shell casing that rested near Darius. Hey! The woman's voice startled Brady. He got to his feet at once and drew his pistol. Who's there? Footsteps. Brady could not determine the direction that they came from. Looking around, he saw no one. I'll show myself if you put your gun away. Not that it would do any good. I just want to talk. That voice, it was so familiar. Janie? No, it can't be. How did you... You cracked my skull with a baseball bat because I overheard you and your buddy planning a heist. I'm truly flattered that you remember. Janie materialized in Brady's peripheral. He turned to see her walking steadily toward him, blood dripping from her ears, 2 black eyes from blood pooling after he'd taken the aluminum bat to her head. But no, it couldn't be her. Not like this. She'd been dead at least 2 years. He fired 3 shots at her. Each one found its mark, but none of them put her down. Like I said, your weapon is worthless. Don't worry, Brady. I'm not here to hurt you. Nope. With me, it's just morbid curiosity. There's some truly pissed off fuckers coming, and I just can't wait to see the look on your face when your intestines become your noose. That's a good one. Maybe I'll go with that. The voice boomed from behind him, giving Brady a start. He wheeled around and stood face to face with yet another impossibility. Carlos? The man stood before him just as he remembered, right down to the tattered t-shirt stained with blood around his abdomen, where Brady shot him. How the hell have you been? Just kidding. I don't give a damn. Carlos placed an icy hand on the detective's shoulder. In life, he'd been a courier of sorts, riding his bike around the city to deliver drugs to high-end clientele. After one very lucrative drop-off, Carlos became better acquainted with the front end of the detective's car. Brady ran him down on a dark street late one night, left him with a bullet in the stomach for good measure, and collected the cash that filled the man's satchel. Brady tried to brush Carlos's hand away as if it were some insect, but his hand went right through. I must be fucking losing it. Brady squeezed his eyes closed, attempting to will himself back to sanity. Detective Ryan Brady, that's who I am. None of this shit is happening. Snap the fuck out of it, goddammit. I thought the same thing, you know? That none of this was happening. That I couldn't possibly be in such a fucked up situation. Brady opened his eyes, and standing before him now was the badly burned body of Antoine Jones. Antoine made a living as a car thief and caught Detective Brady's attention when he stole a vehicle from one of his neighbors. For this act, Brady tailed the man back to his house, where Antoine rented a room. After beating him unconscious, Brady bound Antoine's arms and legs using bed sheets. He opened his eyes in just enough time to see Brady lighting a flimsy curtain on fire. The blaze spread quickly within the small room. Antoine could do nothing but scream as the flames engulfed the surrounding space, giving him his own personal view of hell itself. You're all fucking crazy, Brady screamed, firing shots as he spun around like a madman. More of his victims appeared. Soon he was the center of a closed circle of people who should no longer exist. The detective dropped the gun. A maniacal grin stretched across the bottom of his face. I get it, he laughed. I'm supposed to feel bad about what I did to yous, right? Like I'm that dumbass Scrooge idiot? Well, you know what? I don't give a single fuck. Scum of the earth, all of you were. As far as I'm concerned, I did the world a favor. Now get the fuck out of my way so I can leave. No one moved. All of their eyes, those who had them, remained on Brady. His gaze darted from face to face around the circle of bodies. You get to leave? Really? A man whose body was in an advanced state of decay came forward. I didn't know that was an option. I mean, it wasn't for me, detective. More victims stepped forward, tightening the circle around Brady. The detective took a swing at the first person who came within arm's reach, and the blow sailed right through as though nothing but air occupied the space. The group laughed while Brady continued to fight what he could not touch, spinning in every direction, attempting to land just one hit. He tired himself out, doubling over, hoping to catch his breath. Will Johnson stepped forward, his face ashen and covered in dry blood that streaked down from a ragged hole in his forehead. He grabbed Brady's head and hoisted him upright. Brady was sickened by the man's rotten breath that wafted across his face when he spoke. "Your luck's run out, buddy. Can't kill your way out of this one." Will placed his arm around Brady's neck and squeezed. Brady gasped, flailing his arms wildly, trying to break the hold. He could not yell or cry out, as there was no air available to draw in another breath. Before long, the edges of his vision grew dim. "Let him go," a voice boomed. The crowd parted and Will broke the hold, dropping Detective Brady to the ground. Darius Miller slowly rose up from the pool of blood that surrounded him. He took one uneasy step toward Brady and then another. The cop crawled forward and hugged his friend's legs tight, not surprised at all that he could touch him. "Miller, oh shit, please help me." Darius nudged away from Brady's embrace and kneeled down, placing a hand on the man's shoulder. "You've disrupted quite a few lives, Brady. None of us were perfect, true. But why do you get to be the judge? These are all brothers, sisters, husbands, and even parents-to-be. They fucked up, but you left them all with no chance for redemption. And me? Well, I guess my biggest mistake was trusting you. You're not the same person I grew up with, the man I was proud to know. Look around you. This is all the pain that you caused. You think you're frightened? Think of how they felt. None of them deserved what you gave them." Darius rose up onto his feet once more. "I didn't deserve this." Brady reeled back, seeing that Darius was now in possession of his gun. Darius leveled the weapon on Brady. "Don't, Miller. Don't do this. I can make this right. I'll do good by Keisha. I promise. Her and the baby will never want for anything." "Yes, they will be all right. That was the whole point of me no longer helping you rob the bad guys. You shouldn't have been so greedy. This could have all gone differently. Now, you get to feel all of the pain you've inflicted on others throughout your meaningless life." The gun fired twice, punching 2 holes in Brady's abdomen. The pain was immense. Brady moved a trembling hand to his pocket where his phone was. Before he could bring the device up to his field of vision, a foot stomped down on his hand, crushing it. Brady cried out. The others had surrounded him once more. This time, they closed in around him completely. Excuse me 1 second. He could not tell who struck first. There was a barrage of fists and booted feet. Soon, hands were tearing at him, clawing his flesh away to the sounds of growls and snarls and, just above the frenzy, Miller's wild laughter. "You sure it's him?" The captain questioned the detective outside of the abandoned parking lot, not far from the police precinct. "Folks in the building across the street said they've been complaining about the smell for at least a week. The super was finally able to get in touch with the property owner to do something about it. The guy walks in, takes one look at the scene, runs away crying like a newborn. Called 911 shortly after. We identified Darius Miller right away. He was shot gangland style, but still had his wallet near him. The other victim looked like he'd been torn apart by wild dogs. Detective Ryan Brady's car is parked down there, and we've recovered what appears to be his service pistol. I'm sure we'll be able to salvage a fingerprint or two to positively identify him, but the timeline fits for when he went missing. Christ, what a goddamn mess. There's more, Chief. Apparently, Miller was Detective Brady's confidential informant on the Castaneda case. And what? You think he found out and this is some sort of retaliation? That's my initial guess, yes. Ah, shit. I don't need this right now. The captain wiped at his brow, flustered. Bag him and tag him, Detective. We're in for a long night. The end. All right, so that was the next installment of Sinister Sunday. The story was Confidential Informant. You can find it on my blog on WordPress at bryantwiley.wordpress.com, along with a host of other stories. It's where I host my October horror blog, and every now and then I post random short stories and flash fiction there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the story, and again, I'm on the fence on whether I'll do this next week or not, but if not next week, then I'll definitely be back some other Sunday night to keep this going. Before we officially wrap this up, if you guys have anything for me, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer what I can. So yeah, talk amongst yourselves, see if you have any questions. I'm going to close this laptop, and was that enough time? Was that enough time to talk? I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to call this a wrap. If anybody does have any questions, just post them. I'm going to post this story on my page, and post your questions or anything you have there. Hopefully you guys were entertained for this small modicum of time during these very uncertain times. You know, there's scary stories that I read, but what's going on outside is way scarier. You know, sometimes I can't believe this is real life. And I'm going to leave you with that. So thank you guys for showing up, and I will see you at the next one.